Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a fantastic best of fiver. In the bottom right corner, spawning as the blue Terran, the player that presses buttons quicker than Michael Jackson would often a lollipop to your 7-year-old. It is, of course, a Byun. And in the top left, a man of many identities. Is he a Terran? Is he a Protoss? I don't know. All we know is that he's called Clem and plays for Team Liquid. We're starting here on Ruby Rock. One of the maps from the Team Liquid map contest. That's a rock right there. How many rocks are there on here? It's 1, 2, oh my god. Dustin, this is the type of map that Dustin Browder has in his hidden folder on his desktop. Holiday pictures. And like 3 folders deep. The freaking Ruby Rock. There's screenshots of each individual rock in like different angles. Good lord. It's a tiny little map as well. Stargate opener out of Clem. This is very rare to see. It is something that has been starting to get a little bit more common ever since the Cyclone bug fix. So the Cyclone was bugged, as in the Cyclone would lock on too many times or too quickly. The cooldown of that was too short. And now that that has been fixed, as a result, we actually see a little more Stargate openers again in the Protoss versus Terran matchup. First Adept is going to go down, kills a Marine, loses the Adept, denies a bit of mining here on the Naturals. This Adept is going to go in, will get the snipe on this SCV unless Byun is really quick. Not quick enough. Luckily there's an SCV already on the low ground that was trying to repair these Hellions. There's going to be an Oracle or Phoenix first. Okay, it's going to be Phoenix first. The battery in the main base. I think Clem here is expecting a proxy starport. I do not believe that Clem thinks these Hellions are going to go into the front. And as a result, that might be a little bit weird. So we're going to have 4 Hellions running in right now. Adept moves into the main base. Stalker is on the low ground, and here we go. Byun's going to commit into the natural right now, where there's really not a whole lot to defend. Look at that. The dancing. The dance of love between these probes and the Hellions. And honestly, the probes do get away here without any major damage, so that's nice. We have a quad mine drop follow-up. This is probably the worst case scenario. If I'm being real honest, I can't imagine a worse scenario for Byun. He's dealt no damage with his Hellions. He's killed with like half a worker. He's killed 1 worker. He's lost 1 worker himself as well. Now these 2 Phoenixes are gonna go back home. I think that Clem knows that something is wrong. The triple Hellion now is going to try to run by into the main base or the net. I don't even know what their plan is going to be, but we have a pylon here already that will provide significant vision. Triple Phoenixes are going to see that. Let's see how fast the response is going to be. Okay, Phoenixes see this, will move over ASAP. 4 mines and 3 Phoenixes. 4th Phoenix shows up as well. There we go. First 3 mines do drop. All 4 mines will manage to burrow, so we at least get a little bit of damage output. Do we get a lift on the bottom side? That mine just doesn't get lifted. Also doesn't just try to burrow anymore. The triple Hellions now are going to move in. We get a reburrow on the mine. Clem was not paying proper attention. He's going to lose 8 workers there to a single mine shot. And despite the poor start with the Hellions, Byun's actually going to end up doing that fairly well. He gets a 3rd CC on location, which a lot of Terrans would consider a major risk, because it is a very major risk. Often difficult to defend. Oh, this is nice though. This is real nice. Good lift there. Cancelling the Cyclone lock-on. Quick thinking out of Clem, saving his Phoenix. Well executed. Follows this up with a Templar Archives, a Forge. We get Charge as well. It's a lot of tech coming out of here. We get Chrono Boost on the Nexus. And a 3rd base that's about to finish up while we're currently still supply blocked. I do not believe that Clem is in a good position right now, though. He is a little bit behind where he ideally would be. He's not aware of the 3rd base. He has not seen any extra barracks either. He's not playing it necessarily very safe. Like, with how little information he has, he's playing extremely greedy. Storm, extra gateways, Chronos on the probes. Had Byun actually gone for a 1-1-1 all-in, which is pretty much everything that Clem saw here, it was just 1-1-1 attacks, Byun would have just straight up won. Like, there's no defense here, right? Like, this is one of the greediest defenses that Clem could go for. This push is going to hit a little bit too late to really deal serious damage, so I don't think this is real either. We already have the 1-1 upgrades coming in, and Barracks 4 and 5 coming out as well. I mean, Clem is still going to be behind after this, most likely, because of the upgrades, and I think the infrastructure simply isn't good enough for Clem here either. But he's tried his absolute best to play as greedy as humanly possible and get back into this game. Even if Byun would have played like a 3-Rex build rather than a triple CC, I think he would have been capable of killing his opponent with the first Stim combat shield push as well. So yeah, Clem definitely living on the edge here, not scouting the third base, yet playing like there was a third. So impressive stuff. Both of these zealots are going to go down. Honestly, good return on investment on these Cyclones. They've killed a zealot each so far. So that's nice. Big ups to them. Get a fourth base in here as well. I mean, this is legitimately kind of crazy. Like, Clem has no clue what the hell is going on. Taking a fourth base right now, in any other situation than the one we're in, would be clinically insane. Like, people have been sent to the asylum for less. Way less. This is mental. His vision on the map is very good, but he just has no units. And Storm isn't as powerful anymore that you just can kill infinite Marines with it. It's just not what it does no more. 1-1 upgrades are about to finish up here. Do we have an armory already on the way? We don't. I would love to see these upgrades continue being strong. Clem's lack of information and his greed is rivaled by none. Second forge, fourth base, 0 scouting information. Like, this is actually insane. Look at what info he has. He's nothing. You see nothing. The only info he has is what's going on the map. And that's not been a whole lot. So now finally this zealot is going to scout the third base. And Clem is going to be like, I knew this. That's nice. Thank God there's a third here. And thank God he's taking gas 5 and 6. Because otherwise I would be in some serious trouble. Zealot is going to move back. Quick response, of course, out of the Cleminator. There's a 2-1 upgrade start here as well. I honestly think that Clem has managed to maneuver himself out of a very, very bad position into a very playable spot. Prism is on the way. We get the Phoenixes flying out here as well. Now, a lot of this army is still energy and shield dependent. Both Zealot and Templar are kind of weak against decent Ghost counts. Right now we have 3 Ghost out as the Phoenix is moving further forward as well. We have a Zealot run by that's going to run in towards the natural. 2 Cyclones in position, couple of Ghosts as well. This is going to end fairly poorly here for those Zealots. At the same time, we have an attack up north where the tank is going to try to target down these Templar. But there's so many Templar here. You have 6-7 Templar. Being split well enough, I guess. Although the general outcome of this fight wasn't great for Clem. Clem ends up losing about 20 supply and kills practically nothing. Has managed to establish a couple of extra gases, so goes up to 6. Second robotics facility, Robo Bay. Fourth base already going down here for Byun. So that means that Clem will need to start working on a 5th base relatively soon as well, if he wants to stay on par with the Terran economy. 2-2 upgrades here for Byun, second starport. We have a Prism now finally flying in, but the Cyclones are aware and they're going to be clearing this Prism. I'm not sure if Clem's going to be fast enough with an unload. Just a single Zealot gets out of there. And once more, Byun takes a pretty significant win here. That is 10 supply that just disappears off the face of the earth without any real cost. Another Adept is going to die here as well. As the extra barracks come down, I am starting to become very afraid for Clem, especially now that since the last patch, Terran late game is actually considered to be a little bit stronger than the Protoss late game at the highest level. I don't think this is necessarily true at anything below the highest level, but from what I've seen, when Clem is using the Terran late game, he seems practically impossible for even the top level Protoss player. So I am curious to see how well Byun will fare against Clem. Clem's been a Protoss nightmare for him over the past few months. I think Byun at some point said that he believed he had about a 10% win rate against Clem. Now Terrans do like to over-exaggerate how difficult it is to beat Protoss, so you know, I wouldn't mind doubling or even tripling that win rate there for Byun, but still, that leaves him with 20 to 30%, even accounting for the over-exaggeration. As the 5th base now is being taken for Clem, we have Cloak on the way, we have ship weapons coming in here as well. This is just not feeling great, is it? It is not feeling great. Thermal Lens is going to finish up. I think Byun is pretty much set up for whatever the hell he wants to do. For now, whatever the hell he wants to do seems to just be sitting at home and establishing a 4th, which, fair play to him. We have a planetary here. He's getting turrets, he's getting sensor towers. It's this random bunker still placed. Starts a +3 attack upgrade as well, so we now have 5 Vikings total against 2 Colossi. Fleet Beacon comes in as well as +1 air weapons. Clem is aware of the fact that you're going to need Tempest in the late game in order to survive against Terran. Just playing Disruptor is not really viable anymore. He's staying on a relatively low Zealot count. almost no immortals being added in, which I think personally is a mistake. That is one of the units that actually does have quite some value, both supply-wise but also cost-wise. Tend to get decent trades overall. Got a big blink in forward. As Clem's going to commit into here. We have a lot of supply that's just kind of idling. It's not even trying to counterattack, it just was doing nothing. And as a result, Clem is actually going to get a pretty decent fight. This should theoretically not be possible right now at this stage of the game. But Byun is just kind of idling with large portions of his army for no real reason. And we also still have 4 supply in this bunker. We have the 3 supply of the tank over here. Extra CCs coming in. Byun also went up to 84 workers. More and more cannons are being added in. Clem takes a 6th base and scans the top right side. No, sorry. The scan comes out of Byun, of course. Zealot is there. One thing that Clem is absolutely mental at, by the way, is kind of creating these vision, you know, these rings of vision around the map. He just sees almost everything that's happening as he double expands to base 6 and 7. And that is a pretty big deal. Here comes a run by, achieves nothing. Another sensor tower gets put a little bit further forward. Triple Liberators now start. 2 more orbitals on the way as well. This base is going to get cancelled. This is actually kind of how you want to play majority of the time, with 2 armies split out. A triple medevac towards one side, and then a main army with 6, 7, 8 ghosts, a bunch of Vikings to the other side. Because it's really difficult for TOS to split their army effectively. Gateway units are not great against Bio. Colossus are not great with small, like, gateway unit counts. More Liberators are being produced. Caduceus Reactor on the way. Byun here really is trying his best to just play a game of, let's see if I can do nothing until minute 20. So far, he is succeeding. Felt like, even if you do believe that the late game is going to be Terran favored, and you really want to play for that late game, I do believe that you still should try and take wins when you can. I sometimes feel like that's one of the things that Serral doesn't do enough either. Where he'll be so far ahead, and then he'll just be like, okay, like, it's impossible for me to lose in a late game, so let's just take it there. But I think it's actually inefficient StarCraft. It's like, if you can get a 95% win by just attacking at certain points, you should probably take that. As this army is not really being microed out of Byun, which is a mistake. Doesn't really matter. He's still going to win this fight over here. Didn't use a single EMP there, which is a debatable call. Planetary is going to be set up over here. We're going to need some more ghosts moving towards that side. Liberators are going to show up here as well. I think Byun's worker count is actually something that's holding him back a little bit right now. One of the really neat things about Terran is that you can actually stay on, let's say, 20, 25 workers less than the Protoss. If Protoss is on 82, 83 workers, Terran can be on like 66, 67. The moment you get to 5, 6 orbitals, have similar income and just have a significantly bigger army. It's just so difficult for the Protoss to deal with that. Well, if you have equal army supply, I think there's worlds in which TOS still gets decent trades. But let's see how it's been so far. 10k against 7.6. So definitely favoring the Terran player here so far. He pushes in further forward with the Liberators as well. One zoning store comes in. There's 5 more storms. 5 more storms sitting here, waiting to be sent in. But Liberators are just going to push this base down. So that's going to be one base that will fall. Planetary here is solid as well. Nuke comes down from the high ground. So get a couple of scans, making sure there's no observers nearby. Vikings making short work of the Colossi as well. And I actually think this nuke is going to land. And if Clem isn't careful, it's going to land right on top of him. There we go. This has been such a long time since we've seen a freaking nuke collapse on top of an army at high level. And yeah, that resource loss is not looking so great anymore. It already wasn't looking brilliant, but now it definitely ain't. We instantly see Byun shift his attention towards the top side of the map with absolutely everything. Let's try to pushing kind of far forward. Needs the units that are constructing right now to kind of join up with the fight as well. So far, that hasn't really happened. New nuke starts. I mean, if it works once, why not try again? Still more orbitals coming in. I really do believe... Oh, well, a second planetary, that's kind of crazy. I much prefer having a Liberator there for defense, but you know, everyone can have their vices. You want to build a second planetary there? You do you, boo. You do you. Liberator's going to siege up here on the minerals. Topside base still being set up for Clem. Clem really wants to hold this Nexus as well. I mean, it's one of the bases that is mining for him. He's 87 workers right now. I really once more would like to kind of... Oh, hold that up as we... I think this might be a game-defining fight, a game-deciding fight. It's just such a slow one that it doesn't feel like it's really happening. You know, there's no Vikings flying around. Half the time these units aren't even stimmed, just like kind of ghost shooting at stuff. Like, holy crap, ghosts are good if there's no anti-light armor damage. Like, there's no Colossi here in the mix. Storm is going to connect with majority of this army. Liberator still sieging up as well. Tempest count continues growing here, but I don't think there's any storms available no more. And that means that the ground army now is going to keep on pushing through. Another Zealot Warping comes in. Liberators need to move forward if they want to continue contributing here into the battle. We have 4 starports that are pumping Vikings at a very high pace. A couple more Tempests here are going to end up falling. Ship weapons level 3 coming in clean as well. Clem is at +2 attack. 1 shield weapons. I feel like Byun is just kind of trickling units into the Tempest rather than waiting for a decent amount of Vikings. He keeps going with 2 Vikings, losing both of them. It's like, oh, I have 2 more. Nice, I can lose those again as well. And never really using the fact that you can get 1 shot in. So whenever Tempest are kiting, the Tempest shoot once or twice, and then the Vikings get their 1 shot. But if you only have 2 Vikings, you're not 1-shotting anything, right? So you actually want a higher Viking count, generally. What I was gonna say is that I still would like y'all to be aware of the fact that the worker count for Byun is just simply too high. We have some serious oversaturation. We have a lot of orbitals that can actually assist here in getting a higher income if you need with the mules. And as a result, this army isn't as good as it should be. It's still probably going to be good enough due to the complete lack of Templar in here. Byun is just walking all over Clem's late game. I think Byun gave his opponent way too many chances, but once the Terran gets going in this late game, it looks so freaking tough for the top-level Protoss players. I haven't quite seen it yet, where we were in a situation with an even game, in the mid-game, into the late game, where a Protoss got decent fights in the new patch. It seems extremely tough to deal with. The resource loss, 35k to 22k now, of course. A big part of that was that nuke that Clem stood in. One could call that suboptimal. As Byun is moving in further forward, Tempests now are falling out of the sky, and GG is gonna get called. Byun will win game number 1. And game number 2 will be played over here on Torches. Wait, this is not the new map pool then. Oh, I think this might be from one of the Wardy Cups. I can never remember where I got all of my replays from, but this must be from one of the Wardy Cups. And Wardy was telling me about this. He really liked some of the new maps, some of the maps in the TLMC map pool. And he was like, hey, I really want to put some new ones in. He actually sent me a message asking which ones I liked the most. And we were in agreement pretty much on what we liked. Although I felt like the quality of the new maps in general was extremely high. This is one of the things where I know a lot of people will say that all maps look the same. To me, it feels like that map makers have gotten quite good at trying to use different map types of composition, like map compositions that still feel, you know, like you can play on them. It doesn't feel terrible to play on for a lot of people, but still produces fresh games at the high level. Generally, the vibe that I've gotten from top players as well is that they wouldn't mind extremely weird maps if the map pool is a little bit bigger. One of the main issues that tends to happen when you have just 1 or 2 very weird maps in a map pool is that they just end up getting vetoed every single game by the person that has less experience on it or doesn't feel comfortable on it. And often very weird maps tend to be imbalanced towards one race as well. So that is an issue that does kind of arise there. Then on top of that, I always feel like that a lot of the kind of lower level players that, you know, don't have 8 hours a day to figure out every little trick on the new map, they tend to struggle very much if a lot of things change at the same time. So it is something to keep in mind when it comes to new maps. But I personally, when it comes to watching high-level games, I freaking love seeing wild maps and seeing different types of maps. It helps a lot. I always felt like the StarCraft 2 map cycle was, like the map life cycle was a little bit too long, in my opinion. And when I say a little bit too long, I think it's way too long. I personally wouldn't even mind having some of these weekly cups just getting weekly map updates. or just having forced maps. Saying, hey, this map, you can't veto it. You're just going to play on it. Tough luck. I feel like that type of stuff where you can prepare for particular maps, especially if they're crazy, does kind of give that vibe back that you maybe can get an upset, you know? Might make the Harstem versus Clem series a little bit more interesting. If I take map number 1, because I knew where the first lemons dropped that gave me the 500 minerals. Alright. What's Clem doing? He's going to play a 2-gate Robo to start things off with. And when I say 2-gate Robo, I mean 4-gate Robo. And that means we're going to go for... I don't want to call this an all-in. But if it doesn't work, Clem is in some trouble. Byun has played a build order as well here. This will definitely be in the book of builds. Whether it will be under the successful section or played once, never seen again. We're about to find out. So this was probably the fastest Banshee speed rush that I've seen in my miserable life. Like this is going to hit quite quick. The problem is that there's not a whole lot behind this. There's no... This is the first tank. You know, I have 2 extra barracks coming in as well. Banshees are gonna hide. So Clem is mining out these minerals. Is he actually gonna mine out from here as well? Is that his plan? I don't quite understand what Clem's plan is, but I would love to see how he's going to find a way to attack here on torches, because it's not simple at all. There's no high ground you can blink up on. You have this area you can potentially run into. That is not necessarily the easiest either. And he's going to have to deal with 2 Banshees that will fly in about 10 seconds after he hits. So, interesting setup here. Very interesting setup. This tank is extremely far forward. That scares the crap out of me. We have a full wall here. This is a very strategical game. And I haven't seen these 2 strategies face off against one another quite yet. As I do believe that the Banshee should really be flying across the map. I am shocked to see both Banshees just kind of chilling at home. Like, what is the point of chilling into the top right corner? I don't think there's a whole lot to do there. Oh, blink forward to try and kill the bunker. Now, there is a tank in the back. Clem is going to commit to that. At least he's going to commit a little bit harder than many a toss maybe would have. 1 worker has gone down so far. The Banshees are still kind of idling in the middle of the map. Not great control out of Byun, as there's 1 tank here on the high ground. We have naked barrack production out of Byun here right now. Second tank is going to siege up. Does really need to siege up though. To get a blink in forward. Second tank needs to pull back. It's not going to pull back as the Banshees hit the main base. There's 2 stalkers there to deal with that. And with some split target fire out of both camps, the Banshees will stay alive. Tanks will end up falling. 44 works to 46. Couple of stalkers end up dying. Can we get 2 more? I think 2 more stalkers actually end up going down. And... who is ahead right now? We have a 3rd base here. We have a tank at home. We have a tech lab without stim. Stim hasn't started. That is a mistake. I do not... Oh no, I do understand. I was like, why are these Marines constantly trying to get into the main base? It's because they want to deal with a prison plus 4 stalkers that might be there. That is a serious threat. Something that cannot be underestimated. As the 4 stalker drop now comes in, it's going to kill this SCV. Byun adds 2 more barracks as well. Okay. Okay, Byun's not done yet. Whoa. I mean, this is theoretically allowed. It is just very surprising. Oy. He's going to start mining this out as well. He's just going to go for a full-on push here without... No, he's now going to get a tech lab for combat shield. It felt like he was going to go without combat shield. I am so curious to see how this is going to pan out, because we will get Storm eventually for Clem. Clem is at 57 workers, which is decent. He's getting Immortals, going up to a higher gateway count as well right now. It's going up to 5, 6, 7. 7 gates, Immortal. This is fairly playable. You can live with that, absolutely. 2 more barracks are producing these Marines as well. What are we at? Triple tank, 25 Marines, and a dream. I think this dream is fairly unrealistic. There are definitely different types of dreams. And this is the type of dream where you wake up during the middle of it, like, alright, this is too much. It's like when you're watching a movie and, you know, the guy can fly and it's like superpowers. Like, what the hell is this? This is completely unrealistic. And you realize you're watching a Marvel movie. It's like, oh, right. There are people that enjoy this. I usually just wake up during those types of dreams. Some people turn them into movies. These guys don't even have freaking combat shield yet. And this is... There is legitimately zero chance that Byun is going to get out of here victorious. It is impossible because there's an alternative third, which is actually the correct call. You want to pull these workers away in this case. And you just use Storm to stall the opponent. So you're outmining your opponent by like factor 2, 3 maybe even. And you just try to hit something with Storms. You never want to fully engage until you're 100% sure that you can win. This was a kind of a wild engagement out of Clem, to be honest, because this wasn't like a I won 100%. That was really poorly executed. He had so many Storms available and he had so much time. He can just mine from this base right now. Like, he's still outmining his opponent by a lot. He's probably still going to be fine, but that was an extremely poor decision out of Clem to try and fight there. Byun's dream seeming a little bit closer to reality all of a sudden. We have 2 Storms available. Energy recharge not available. We get a 16 Marine drop into the main base while the tanks actually control the ramp over here. And we're going to get a Storm drop on top of this, but quick control out of Byun. This is actually the correct play as well, as you want to clear these pylons if you can. I sadly don't think that Byun actually can clear these pylons. And now we're going to get a move in forward over here. We have a couple of Storms available. Templar pickup was good. Now we get some more Storms. Tanks have disappeared. That means that the Templar is going to reign supreme. Oh, that guy almost goes down, but a quick pickup will save it. We have 1 Storm available here on the left, I think. It's going to connect, and with the Immortal staying alive as well, it does seem like Clem is going to hold in the end. This ended up being much, much closer, though, than it should have been. And in game number 3, we have Byun sending out 2 of his first 2 workers. He's sending out 2 workers. And that means that Clem will need to show off his defense against the proxy marauder. Clem generally is a player that scouts, by the way. Like, I'd say 8 out of 10 times, maybe. 4 out of 5. 16 out of 20. 32 out of 40 times he scouts. Many people have told me. Was that correct? I think it was. 4 out of 5. It's probably accurate enough. And he's got a scout here as well. Now, something that a lot of the Terrans have been doing as of late is when they get scouted, is rather than opening up with a tech lab and a marauder, they'll actually go for a Reaper and a bunker on the low ground. So they go Reaper, Marine, bunker on the low ground, which is kind of a cute move and often leads to a somewhat even game. I've watched Hero do this against Clem do this against Hero when Clem was the Terran. Ooh, a kill there on that worker. Double gas, pylon. Cancel Reaper. And then you go for a Marine behind this and you try to get a bunker up here. That is going to be kind of your main goal, which is an honorable goal. You do need a bunker on the low ground though. Oh, second Reaper. Ew. Ew. eBay block. They didn't send Byun the memo? That is embarrassing. The other Terrans, they're just keeping it close to their chest by playing it in online cups. Oh no. I think the bunker is such a big plus. Okay, Zell is taking quite some damage. Dude, the Zell is taking a serious amount of damage. Imagine you had a bunker here. You continue building it. If you build a Marine instead of a Reaper, you would have 2 extra Marines right now. Bunker is like 95%. Your opponent starts attacking your SCV. You kill the Zealot. Maybe lose the SCV, but your bunker barely finishes. Boom. No Nexus for your opponent. Oh no. How terrible. Feels like this factory is late as well. Could be wrong, but I have a feeling I might not be. Triple Reaper. I could still try to do something with that. And when I say do something, I mean try and go into a main base and kill 5 workers. This is genuinely the only thing that I see viable here right now for Byun as a play. Try to dodge the responsibility as a Terran player and just run in, kill workers. Because he's going to be very far behind economically. Even tech-wise, I'm not loving the position because Factory's finishing up right now. Twilight also is about to finish up. So I'm much preferring the position that Clem is in, as the Zealot's taking quite some damage, but you show the Triple Reaper. Like, there's no way that Clem is not going to keep 2 Stalkers on the high ground, right? It's just going to be 2 Stalker on the high ground. Something that would be sick, by the way, is imagine you build like 2 Reapers first, they build 2 more barracks behind it, and you go 4 Rex Marauder. And Clem is here, like, oh, thinking this is a standard game. And then boom, freaking 12 Marauders show up. It's the fake Marauder proxy into fake Reaper into a real Marauder proxy. Instead it's going to be triple CC here out of Byun. And instead of going for a Cyclone, he plays a tank. This build has to have one of the lowest success rate in the history of success rates. They're gonna be at like the very bottom. The very bottom. And it's ranked by, you know, success rate, like positive win rate. Like this is nice. This is freaking crazy. I don't even quite know what the plan is here then. Triple CC tank marine combat. He's going to have 2 marines, 2 tanks. But he will have a 30. If you're going to get a 30 CC like that, I actually think you should proxy it. Either at the gold or just in the bottom right. Because you need to hide it. Like, you know you cannot defend it if it ever gets spotted. And in a way, hiding it might be good. At the same time, I also believe that a Clem just actually pushes into the natural or the main base. Or in between. Or onto this high ground. Or a drop over here. He's just going to win. Like, he's just going to have so many more units than his opponent. It won't even be funny. Like, Clem is leaving 3 Stalkers at home. And he's going across the map with 4 Stalkers. If he would have gone across the map with 7 Stalkers, the game would legitimately end right now. And even now, I believe that the game might just legitimately end. There's a single tank that is not protecting anything in the main base. There's like 4 Marines total. That is not enough for anything. That is too low for everything. And I think Clem sees this. He's like, what the hell? I can send all my Stalkers across the map. What am I doing at home? Hey, every Marine is dying. This is a terrible day to be a Marine. No stim, no combat. Gonna die a sober man without a shield. Good lord. GG gets caught. Clem wins game number 3. An interesting start to this series, and so far a disappointing game 2 and a disappointing game 3, in which Clem just kind of takes Byun for a spin. Byun did not consent to being taken for a spin, which is very important. We're being taken for a drive. Byun not enjoying this very much. It's wild to me as well with the level of aggression we've seen out of him after a very successful defensive late game, early game. Now, I am not one to float conspiracy theories, but is it possible that Byun is sandbagging in these online cups in order to, you know, make sure that the intern doesn't look at these results straight after the patch and is like, ooh, Terran looks a little bit strong. So Byun plays like 1 real game and then goes back into all-inning, so that the other Terran apologists on the Battle.net forums, Reddit, Team Liquid, Twitch chats, YouTube comment sections will be doing the work for him. See, Byun doesn't even want to play late game anymore. He just all-ins. What did he do? 1 base all-in, 2 base all-in, just loses, gets destroyed by Clem, who by the way is playing with his off-race. Like, yeah. Good points you guys are raising. Let's not forget about the first game that lasted 20 minutes and saw a fairly one-sided affair there. A fairly one-sided affair. Reaper first. We have a... I don't know what the hell this guy is doing. Oh, look at that. A sneak around. Zzz. That is a ha-ha-ha in Korean. Oh, it goes for the Reaper into factory. Wanted to really lock that probe, and that was kind of a cute move. Nice trick. It was a nice trick, Clem. You know what? It would have been a nicer trick had it worked, but then I don't think you would be calling it a nice trick, because you would have just lost your probe and you would have felt bad about it. Clem has been playing some weird Stalker stuff, but that's not what we're seeing here right now. So he's going to be a straight Adept coming out onto the map. See what this guy can do. Can take out any big dogs. I don't think so. It's just going to be a single Reaper, really. The Adept will be here in time as well. Second Chrono on that Adept too. Ooh. Straight tech lab. Means this is going to be Marine. Straight tech lab. Straight tech lab. Marine. Give it to me. Tell me what you've got. Oh, probe almost dies, but battery comes in time with the save. Reaper tried to go across and deal some damage. now going to be forced into turning back home as the first cyclone is going to pop out 2 minutes. Sorry, 3 minutes, 14 seconds out or so. It's going to be quite nice, I think. Here comes another Reaper. Or the same Reaper. With a similar task. Why is Clem doing this? Is he taunting his opponent? It felt like a taunt. Oh, he was. He's just baiting the Reaper to stay. He's like, oh, look at this. Fresh little probe for you to fight. That might actually get a second shot off as well. Well done by Clem. Gets the kill there on the Reaper. That's not an easy feat whatsoever. Robotics facility comes down. 2-gate robo. Cyclone pops out on the map. Wants to maybe pick up something that's going to be sent across. We have a tank as well. More marine production. This is starting to feel a lot like a tank all-in. An awful lot like a tank all-in. This is not going to be world's quickest tank all-in. But it's going to be quick enough, I think. We're going to see a major cut here on the workers as well. Look at that. That was a serious delay there on workers. We're going to get another siege tank out. Is he going to wait for the second tank? No way. Yeah, he's not going to wait for the second tank, but he's going to hit quite hard here. He's actually going to hit quite hard here. Adepts don't see anything as the Cyclone keeps the high ground. Medevac's going to pick this thing up together with 2 Marines, and here we go. We're going to hit with 10 Marines, 1 tank, 1 Cyclone. These units are now pushing in further forward. 1 Adept is going to end up falling. That's a neat pick-off here. Stalkers immediately move towards the front as the tank is in position. The second tank will start moving out soon, as well as the Viking. Let's see what we can do. Okay, Cyclone locks on. Gets hit a little bit in the face. Tank sieges up. That's going to be the end of the poking in and out. Already out of range of the pylon, which is very frustrating here for Byun, let me tell you. That is extremely frustrating here for Byun. Probably is considering... Oh, is he considering picking up some run-by stalkers? Potentially he is. Here we go. This tank is going to get caught. Unlucky rally there. If it had been on the right side, the tank survives, and these stalkers are going to be kind of useless. Cyclone now latches onto the prism. 3 stalkers moving forward. Do not really get the damage here. These 2 Marines get rallied into the stalker once more. Byun hasn't quite fixed his rally point there. No second tank will ever get here. If a second tank had arrived, I have a difficult time seeing how Clem would have held. At least not as simply as he's been doing now. These 3 stalkers are still in between Byun and a solid reinforcement setup. Instead, we're just going to see a tank siege up at home. That means that this army is going to get marooned over here on this side of the map. Prism gets taken out. Quite a few stalkers actually falling. For a terrible fight, this was kind of decent. This was really decent for an awful fight. Is 1 more stalker going to fall? Well executed here. Very well executed by Byun, who's going to get a second tank out. Has +1 on the way. He's going to be fighting into a 2-base storm opener. With a 3rd base, and that makes it 3-base storm. But Templar Archives before the 3rd Nexus. We'll stick with the 2-base label. 5 stalkers, no prism. Immortal's going to show up here as well. I think he was just kind of fishing to see if something would pop out, like a tank shot or something. That doesn't seem to be the case quite yet. Tank is very far in the back. Immortal's going to show up here soon as well. More stalkers walking across. Observer is going to poke its head in there too. Here we go. Immortal with big damage output. Bunker is going to fall. That's a guarantee. And there's of course a tank in the back there. Ooh, that's a risky maneuver, my friend. Do not want to be showing your observer in observer mode. It's rarely a good idea. This observer indeed is going to end up falling to a scan and a Viking. 3rd CC starts. Okay, we're actually going to get something that resembles a macro game. Who's in the driver's seat though? Okay, 7 more gates on the way. So it's going to be 10-gate Immortal Storm. With +1 on the way. I'm having a difficult time seeing Byun take a 3rd base off of this. He has very little control out on the map. Clem seemingly has dealt well enough with his early game aggression to get himself into a very playable position. The 10-gate is kind of curious, because it will delay the 4th base a little bit. If you get like these extra 2 gateways, if you're going 8-gate, it tends to be much simpler to go into things like a fourth. Still seems like Clem is going to have an appetite for that fourth base at some point. I'm gonna get some Templars here in the prison. 1 Templar, 3 Zealots. On the ground we have 4 Templar. These Stalkers are still roaming the map as well. I get +1 armor. Command center. Turns into an orbital. Now it's Clem's turn to be aggressive, I guess. I believe his goal might just be to try and deny a third base if it ever goes down. I think it's a goal that might just be achieved. Okay, Stalkers tried to catch a Viking, but the Viking didn't chase. The Viking never chases. 2-2 already starting. That is insane. This is really fast double upgrades. In a way, it's pretty greedy, because you probably prefer getting a ghost out first before you start your 2-2 against this particular composition. Taking a third here is going to be serious hell. Zealot here is going to get cleared because the Shah has finished up. Like 2-2 is going to be completely useless. There's a lot of gas invested into something that will not help at all. Here comes the Prism. How many Vikings are in position? Can they help out? I think they can help out. Can they help out enough? That's the real question. Ghost Academy comes down. We're still working off of... this is 3 base muling, but 2 base minerals. Income is eerily close though. The Vikings in the sky. I think without Ghost, I am not sure if it's actually possible. Because there's not a big enough mine count either. Like if you have 6 mines here, 2 over here, 1, 1, 1, 1. Then the tanks in the back, I can see you taking a third base. But without mines, without Ghost, the storms will just absolutely reign supreme. These tanks are not even sieged up right now. Got a scan in forward. Tanks are going to siege up quite aggressively. Like this seems like a crazy push. Like 10 seconds before your Ghost hit the field. I am not loving the vibe here. I absolutely am not. So here we go. Vikings will clear the prison, as these storms will not really connect. But the tanks end up falling. And without tanks, how the hell do you ever push into this? Get 1 EMP, but there's still a storm in there. You have a fairly low army right now. Storm still very active. Storms lasts way longer now beyond. That was not a good trade in there. It felt good because he was catching all of those Templar, but it was bad because the Storm dealt all of its damage. Now Clem is just going to move in here, and with a fort base behind this, with good reinforcement, despite the Immortals attacking a depot during that battle, I do believe that Clem is just going to walk in here and pick up the victory. Infantry weapons 2-2 finish up now, but that is after the fight. 34 workers have fallen, and the third base is still going to try to go over there, but it's just not going to be working here whatsoever. A very decent first game out of Byun, where he showcased his ability to play a proper late game against Protoss. When it comes to the early and the mid, Clem reigns supreme.